The internet exploded overnight. A strange glowing object appeared in a viral video, floating in the darkness like a living creature. Millions believed they were witnessing a historic moment, the first real image of 3I Atlas, the interstellar visitor coming close to Earth. But something was wrong. Was what we were seeing truly 3I Atlas, or was it the biggest hoax of the century, fooling those who didn't know better? The truth has already been uncovered by the world's leading scientists. This video is for those who want to discover what 3I Atlas really is through the lens of science. It started with a single post. On the morning of October 27, 2025, a short video appeared on X, the platform once known as Twitter. The clip showed something glowing, drifting smoothly through a pitch-black void, twisting and pulsing like it was alive. There were no stars, no background, only a strange object that seemed to breathe in the darkness. Within hours, the video exploded across the internet. Millions watched it, convinced they were seeing the first real footage of the interstellar Comet 3I Atlas, a visitor from another star passing through our solar system. For many, it felt like a moment that would change human history. People called it proof that we are not alone. Some news pages reposted it without checking, while AI-generated captions labeled it as official astronomical footage. It looked poetic, mysterious, even divine, the kind of image that made people believe in miracles. But to scientists, something was clearly off. Real telescope videos never look that clean. They always show faint star trails, scattered light, and a bit of noise from long exposures. This clip was too perfect, too smooth, and too quiet. There was no sign of cosmic distance, no trace of the immense scale that space always carries. Still, the video kept spreading, shared by influencers, conspiracy accounts, and even a few tech blogs eager for clicks. It gathered millions of views before astronomers could even respond. That was when fact-checkers stepped in. Investigators from Lead Stories, a group known for debunking viral hoaxes, began digging into the video's origins. They ran metadata analysis, searched for similar frames in telescope archives, and compared it with NASA's current observations of 3I Atlas. The result was shocking. There was no record of this clip in any astronomical database. No observatory had released it, and no mission was using that type of camera format. The footage simply didn't belong anywhere in the space community. To find out what it really was, Lead Stories contacted Professor Jack Gilbert, a microbiologist from the Scripps Institution of Oceanography. Gilbert looked at the clip and immediately recognized what others missed. "It's not a comet," he said. "It's a paramecium, a single-celled organism moving through water. Under a microscope, a paramecium glides using thousands of tiny hair-like structures called cilia. When filmed under bright light, those movements create beautiful wave patterns that look like ripples of energy. If you crop the image, darken the background, and slow the footage down, it begins to look like something drifting in outer space." And that's exactly what happened. A simple educational biology video had been taken, altered, and stripped of its original context. The result was a viral illusion, a microscopic creature mistaken for a cosmic traveler. Within hours, an organism the size of dust became an alien messenger for millions of people online. It was a perfect example of how digital content can lose its truth when detached from its source. The internet had turned a drop of water into deep space. For scientists, it was both fascinating and alarming. The clip proved how easy it is for misinformation to overpower real research. While telescopes around the world were actually tracking the real 3I Atlas, The world's attention was fixated on a fake. A cell had stolen the spotlight from a comet. It reminded everyone of a difficult truth. People don't always want facts. They want stories that feel real, even when they're not. But behind the viral illusion, something far more extraordinary was happening. While the world was distracted by a microscopic imposter, the real 3I Atlas was approaching the solar system, carrying mysteries no one could explain. And what astronomers were about to discover would change everything we thought we knew about interstellar space. So what exactly is the real 3I Atlas? And why does it behave like nothing humanity has ever seen before? While the fake video was spreading like wildfire, the real 3I Atlas was quietly being tracked by scientists around the world. It was first detected on July 1, 2025, by the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, or ATLAS, a NASA-funded network of telescopes in Hawaii. At first, it seemed like another small comet or asteroid passing through our cosmic neighborhood. But after a few days of observation, astronomers realized something extraordinary. This object wasn't from our solar system at all. It was moving at more than 37 miles per second on an open, hyperbolic orbit, which meant it came from far beyond the reach of our sun's gravity and would never return. That single calculation was enough to confirm it as only the third interstellar object ever discovered in human history. The first had been Oumuamua in 2017, a cigar-shaped mystery that puzzled every expert. The second, 2I/Borisov, appeared in 2019 and behaved more like a traditional comet. Now, 3I Atlas had entered the scene, larger, faster, and stranger than both. Its arrival instantly reignited global interest in interstellar visitors. The more data scientists collected, the more questions emerged. Using powerful spectrographs from observatories in Chile and Hawaii, researchers studied the light reflecting off its surface. The readings revealed something deeply unusual, a faint, misty tail, but almost no sign of the icy materials that make up normal comets. Instead, the spectrum showed extremely high levels of carbon dioxide compared to water, far more than any comet ever recorded. That imbalance hinted at a place of origin much colder than our solar system's early nebula, possibly a region of deep space where even water remains frozen for billions of years. The chemical makeup of 3I Atlas didn't match anything in our catalogs. It was as if the object had been born in a star system completely different from ours, under conditions we can barely imagine. Every comet tells a story about where it came from. By studying their gases, scientists can trace the temperature and radiation of their birth environment. But with 3I Atlas, the clues didn't fit any known model. It seemed to carry the fingerprint of another world, one that might have formed before our own planet even existed. What fascinated astronomers most was how calm and stable it appeared. Even as it approached the inner solar system, 3I Atlas didn't behave like a typical comet boiling under sunlight. Its emissions were steady, its motion precise, almost deliberate. It was like watching something ancient glide past us, untouched by time or chaos. For planetary scientists, this was more than just a discovery. It was a rare opportunity to study matter that had been traveling between stars for millions of years, a fragment of another system passing through ours. If analyzed properly, it could reveal secrets about how planets and life begin across the galaxy. And yet, as 3I Atlas moved closer, the data grew even stranger, suggesting that this was not just an ordinary comet drifting through space. What they found next would defy the laws of physics themselves and force scientists to ask if something far more advanced was guiding its path. So what were these anomalies that made 3I Atlas so different from anything we've ever seen? The deeper astronomers studied 3I Atlas, the more its behavior refused to make sense. At first, they thought its strange composition was the biggest mystery, but soon they realized that the real puzzle was how it moved. Its orbit was nearly flawless, tilted only about 5 degrees from the ecliptic plane, the same path where most planets circle the Sun. Normal comets wander at odd angles, thrown off by gravity or past collisions, yet 3I Atlas followed a clean, perfect arc, like it was deliberately aligning with the solar system. Its path seemed calculated, not chaotic, and that single detail started to trouble scientists more than its chemistry ever did. Then came the size. Estimates placed its mass at around 33 billion tons, making it thousands of times heavier than the interstellar comet Borisov. That much mass should have caused visible disruptions in its structure, but none appeared. Its surface reflected light in a way no natural object ever had. Instead of scattering sunlight normally, it showed negative polarization, meaning it absorbed and reflected light backward, the kind of reflection seen in certain metallic or engineered surfaces. Telescopes caught brief glimmers from its body, like flashes off smooth, flat panels. The more they measured it, the harder it was to explain as just rock and ice. Then came the strangest part of all, its tail. Every known comet's tail is pushed away from the Sun by solar wind, forming a bright streak that points outward. But 3I Atlas did the opposite. Its tail bent inward, facing the Sun itself. No known force in nature could do that. Some scientists suggested magnetic interference or unique gas emissions, but the data didn't support it. It was as if the object were controlling its own reaction to solar energy, resisting the push that should have blown its gases away. When spectrographs analyzed its emissions, they found traces of nickel and cyanide, both compounds commonly linked to industrial or synthetic processes on Earth. Nickel can survive high heat, and cyanide forms when complex carbon molecules break apart, not something expected in deep space ice. This discovery sparked new debates among researchers, and even cautious scientists admitted that 3I Atlas was unlike anything they had ever seen. It was large, structured, and behaving as though it was aware of its surroundings. Still, no one could agree on what that meant. Was it a new kind of comet formed in extreme conditions, or was something far more intelligent shaping its course? As it moved closer to the inner solar system, the questions only multiplied. Its stability under sunlight, its strange reflections, and its inverted tail all pointed to one thing: 3I Atlas was not following the normal laws of nature. It was either built differently or built for a purpose. And while scientists struggled to explain these impossible features, the agencies tracking it suddenly went silent. The world's most advanced telescopes had stopped talking, right when humanity needed answers the most. What could make NASA and every major observatory go quiet at the exact same time? And what were they seeing that the public wasn't meant to know? Then, just as telescopes around the world were closing in on 3I Atlas, everything suddenly went dark. It happened quietly, without warning. NASA stopped releasing new data. The European Space Agency paused its updates. China's National Space Administration said nothing at all. For days, every public feed that had been tracking the object went silent. The blackout began at the very moment 3I Atlas approached Mars, the point in its path when it should have been easiest to observe. The high-rise camera aboard NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter was perfectly positioned to capture high-resolution images of the interstellar visitor. But when researchers checked the scheduled data stream, it was empty. No images, no telemetry. Just a short message claiming the files had been delayed due to government shutdown procedures. For many scientists, that explanation made no sense. Shutdowns might slow operations, but they don't erase data from orbit. Something far more deliberate seemed to be happening. At first, space enthusiasts online believed it was simply a technical glitch, but when ESA and the Chinese Space Agency also went silent, the coincidence felt too precise. Across astronomy forums, researchers started whispering about a quiet order, a coordinated freeze on information related to 3I Atlas. The timing was impossible to ignore. This was the exact period when the object passed behind the Sun, entering what astronomers call solar conjunction. During this window, all Earth-based telescopes are temporarily blinded by sunlight and must shut down their sensors to avoid damage. It was a natural blind spot, one that happens only once every few years. If anything unusual occurred during those 2 weeks, no one on Earth could have seen it. To some, this was just cosmic coincidence. To others, it looked like the perfect cover. What if the agencies weren't hiding a failure of equipment, but something they had seen before the shutdown? Something they couldn't explain? Insiders from a European observatory later hinted that the last few transmissions before the blackout showed an unexpected change in brightness, as if 3I Atlas had opened or released something. NASA never confirmed those claims. Instead, the agency repeated the same phrase, "Data under review." Weeks passed, and still no official imagery was released. For an object that should have been the most observed comet in history, the silence felt deafening. Scientists outside the agencies grew frustrated, accusing the institutions of withholding information under the excuse of planetary defense protocol. Meanwhile, online speculation grew out of control. Some believed 3I Atlas had broken apart, others claimed it had changed course. But the truth was simpler. No one really knew. Every major observatory on Earth was blind at the same time, and no one could say what had happened while the object disappeared behind the Sun. When it finally emerged weeks later, 3I Atlas looked unchanged, but something about its motion felt different, smoother, more precise, almost mechanical. And that single observation reignited the debate that had been waiting to explode. Was 3I Atlas truly a comet, or had something inside it awakened during the silence? As the silence deepened, the debate began. Scientists around the world split into two camps: those who believed 3I Atlas was a natural comet, and those who suspected something far more extraordinary. At the center of that storm was Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb, the same scientist who years earlier proposed that Oumuamua, the first interstellar object ever detected, might have been an artificial probe. This time, his theory was even bolder. Loeb suggested that 3I Atlas might not be a comet at all, but a mothership, a massive vessel carrying smaller probes designed to explore the planets of our solar system. He based his idea on data showing the object's hollow structure and strange stability near the Sun. If the interior was truly empty, he argued, it could serve as a protective chamber for smaller crafts or instruments. The outer shell would act as armor and camouflage, shielding whatever was inside from radiation, debris, and gravity as it traveled between stars. That kind of engineering, Loeb said, would make perfect sense for interstellar travel. A hollow body would weigh less and absorb less energy, allowing it to survive heat that would destroy ordinary rock or ice. He explained that if smaller devices were ever released, it would most likely happen during solar conjunction, the period when Earth couldn't see it. During those 2 hidden weeks, 3I Atlas was perfectly positioned to deploy objects into nearby orbits without anyone noticing. If those probes existed, they wouldn't drift randomly like fragments of a broken comet. They would move in formation, maintain equal spacing, and flash in rhythmic light patterns, just like a network under control. Soon after Loeb's statement, several observatories began scanning the sky for those very signals. A few independent astronomers reported faint, repeating pulses near the same trajectory 3I Atlas had followed. Nothing was officially confirmed, but the possibility was enough to set off a wave of fascination and fear. The idea of a mothership was no longer just science fiction. It was being discussed at real academic conferences. Still, not everyone agreed. At Penn State University, Professor Jason Wright pushed back, warning that extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. He argued that every anomaly so far could still be explained by physics. "The object comes from another star system," Wright said. "Of course it's different. That's why we study it." He described 3I Atlas as a scientific gift, not a threat. Each strange feature, he believed, was simply a clue about how comets form in other corners of the galaxy. Loeb, however, refused to back down. He pointed out that the odds of 3 interstellar objects arriving in less than a decade were already incredibly low. To him, it looked less like coincidence and more like a pattern, perhaps evidence of an organized presence moving between stars. The two views divided the scientific community, leaving the public trapped between curiosity and unease. Was this an unprecedented discovery of natural beauty, or the first sign that someone, or something, had reached us from beyond? As the arguments grew louder, a new event unfolded that would shift the entire conversation once again. Because while Earth debated theories, another world was already watching 3I Atlas up close, and what it saw would change everything. So what did Mars actually witness when it looked toward the alien light in its sky? In October 2025, something remarkable happened on Mars. While Earth's telescopes were blinded by the sun, NASA's Perseverance rover captured a faint streak of light moving across the thin Martian sky. At first, it looked like a glitch, maybe a passing meteor. But when scientists enhanced the frames, the trajectory matched 3I Atlas exactly as it passed behind the sun. It became the first interstellar object ever recorded from another planet. That alone made history. Yet what the images showed next left scientists speechless. The light around the object didn't behave like sunlight reflected off dust or ice. It shimmered unevenly, bending and pulsing as if reacting to invisible energy. When researchers ran a polarization test, the light flipped direction instead of scattering normally. They called the effect polarization inversion. No natural comet had ever done this. It meant the surface was interacting with sunlight in a complex way, maybe through metallic layers or a plasma field. Some experts believed the object had multiple outer coatings that expanded and cooled under solar heat, creating optical distortion. Others speculated it was an active system, something regulating temperature like a heat shield. Whatever it was, it didn't act like an ordinary piece of rock. It seemed to respond to its environment. NASA confirmed the capture, but stayed quiet about details. Still, independent data analysts noticed something strange. The brightness pulses repeated every 9 minutes, perfectly timed, never random. If true, that rhythm could suggest controlled bursts of energy, perhaps to stabilize or power itself. No comet ever pulsed with such precision. As more analysts studied the footage, theories multiplied. Was this energy output a natural reaction to sunlight, or could it be an artificial signal? Even scientists who dismissed alien theories admitted that nature rarely produces repeating patterns so exact. From its vantage point on Mars, humanity had witnessed something unprecedented, an interstellar visitor that behaved almost alive. As the faint light faded into the darkness, one thought echoed across every observatory. If 3I Atlas could adapt and emit energy, what else might it be capable of? Before 3I Atlas appeared, humanity had only seen 2 interstellar travelers cross our solar system, and both changed how we understand the universe. The first was Oumuamua, spotted in 2017 by the Pan-STARRS telescope in Hawaii. It was unlike anything scientists had ever seen, long, flat, and shining strangely, with no tail, no gas emissions, and an acceleration that made no sense. Some said it was a shard of rock shaped by cosmic collisions. But Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb proposed a shocking idea. It could be a solar sail, a thin sheet of reflective material pushed by starlight, possibly built by an intelligent civilization. That theory divided the scientific world, but planted a lasting question. What if we had just missed the first visitor from another intelligence? 2 years later, in 2019, another traveler arrived, 2I/Borisov. Discovered by amateur astronomer Gennady Borisov, it was the first confirmed interstellar comet. Unlike Oumuamua, Borisov behaved more predictably, with a visible tail and cloud of gas. It showed that interstellar objects were real, not rare miracles, and that countless others could be crossing the dark between stars right now. Then came 3I Atlas in 2025, brighter, faster, and far more mysterious. This time, humanity was ready. In Chile, the Vera Rubin Observatory began scanning the southern sky every 3 nights, creating a complete digital map of billions of stars and transient objects. With help from artificial intelligence, it can compare new images to millions of known orbits, instantly detecting anything that doesn't belong, even faint visitors from beyond the solar system. In Hawaii, the Atlas Early Warning System expanded to 4 fully automated telescopes, each capable of spotting objects as small as 0.06 miles from hundreds of billions of miles away. Meanwhile, in space, JWST and the upcoming SphereX mission from NASA prepare to analyze the light of unknown objects, breaking it into spectral fingerprints to identify chemical composition from afar. And soon, the Comet interceptor from the European Space Agency will wait in deep space, ready to chase down the next interstellar object. It will not sit in orbit, but travel freely, redirecting itself toward any newly discovered visitor. For the first time in history, humans are no longer passive observers. We are preparing to intercept what comes next. Astronomers believe that within the next decade, dozens of interstellar objects like 3I Atlas will be detected, each one carrying new secrets about how worlds form beyond the sun. But one question still echoes through every control room and telescope array on Earth. When the next visitor arrives, will we finally see another comet, or will we be looking straight into the eyes of something watching us back? The appearance of the interstellar object, 3I Atlas, is not only a remarkable astronomical event, but also a social phenomenon worth pondering. The explosion of astronomical fever has led to countless rumors and fake images, such as the image of a strange insect, causing confusion among the public. This incident once again blurred the fragile boundary between science and imagination. However, it is such mysteries that motivate humanity to constantly explore, asking fundamental questions about our origin and existence in the universe.